Hey everybody, welcome to A Culinary Journey. I'm Luca and I got a really cool treat for you. We're going to do a couple of items that might sound hard, but aren't. So here's what we're doing. We're doing oysters with kind of a little Rockefeller twist. I'm going to do some spinach, cream, shallots, and some other little cool flavors into that. And we're going to put them on oysters and on clams, because some people like oysters, some people don't. Great appetizers to have over when everyone's coming over. Roasted in the oven. Amazing. And then a little twist on a beef Wellington. We're actually going to do Portabello Wellingtons. I'm going to take a whole Portabello mushroom. I'm going to make a stuffing for it, put it in the stuffing, wrap it in puff pastry, and give it to you with love. That's it, Portabello mushrooms, Portabello Wellington. So we have two great items to make today. We have a lot of work to get to. So like I say all the time, your culinary journey starts now. Welcome back to our culinary journey. I just have to figure out how we're going to get around this journey because we have some really cool items to put together and we have around a half hour to put them together for you. So it's going to be super easy, but it's going to feel like you put out something that came out of a gourmet magazine. All right? So we're talking about oysters, we're talking about clams. We're going to get to those in a minute. We need to make our stuffing and our sauces first. And we're also talking about Portabello mushrooms stuffed and then wrapped in puff pastry a la Wellington, which is traditional Wellington's usually puff pastry around, let's say, a filet mignon, and then usually has a little duxelle, which is a mushroom sauce, some pate, those great items there. We're going to just change it up so we have all those kind of same flavors, but working in a different angle. So let's get right to work, get some pans on so we can get our stuffings made and all that fun stuff. So I want to work right away on our stuffing for the portobellos, and I want to get the portobellos cooking. Now you could do the portobellos two ways. Get them in the oven, let them cook that way, or we're going to cook them off in a pan on top of the oven. So I'll get my portobello mushrooms first. Whoop, don't want to lose that one. And we'll get that going. So I have these big portobello mushrooms. Now you could talk about it two ways. Some people like to take the gills out. I actually like leaving the gills in. What I do too, and I've always told you about how I like making stocks. All right, mushroom stock is one of the coolest things possible. You can make a great mushroom soup from an amazing mushroom stock. And the portobello mushroom has some good stem to it. As long as you get rid of the dirt down at the bottom. This stem right here, we're going to clean it up a little bit, and we can make a mushroom stock out of it. We'll do a whole show on that one day. So first thing we're going to do is take our stems off and make sure we reserve this for our stock later. And we'll get these back over here. And yes, there's a little dirt on there, but you know, what did my mom say to me when I was a kid? You're going to eat a pound of dirt by the time you get older? Yeah, I probably have eaten a little bit more because I like mushrooms so much. And the only thing I really want to do is with a damp towel, kind of just wipe off the dirt on the outside. Never run these underwater. You've heard all that before, right? Just want to wipe it off on the outside. And again, I'm leaving the gills inside. I love the gills of that. If you don't like them or you follow somebody else's way of doing it and they say, oh, you know, it makes it dark or it gives it a different flavor. Really, it's about your preference. We just want to make sure we clean these off. So we're getting our two pans going. Ta-da! And the last one. All right. So then make sure you clean off your cutting board, because then you would have just put your dirt back on, which is kind of silly. And hey, do you know where mushrooms grow in? Oh, we don't want to talk about that. Let's move on from there. Let's get a little oil in this pan, and a little bit in this pan. So the one that, this one up here, basically what I'm going to do is kind of saute my mushrooms. I'd only be able to get 3. I'm hoping I get all 4. Let's start with 3. I'll get the other one in on the break. So we're going to saute our mushrooms, and this one we're going to create our stuffing. I'm going to do ground chicken in here. I'm going to do a ground chicken stuffing, which is absolutely wonderful. You could do ground turkey, you could do a ground beef stuffing, or you could do a vegetarian stuffing. You could do more mushrooms. Take a lot of different types of mushrooms, just saute them together, stuff mushroom and mushroom. It's like pork and pork. You know, it's just great. And then you can wrap it with more mushrooms. We're going to add in some shallots. So for those of you who haven't cooked with shallots before, I love cooking with them because they have a lot of that flavor you get from an onion, but they're not overpowering. And not only that, they just cook down perfectly. I think it makes a difference in a dish. I mean, you've seen me cook a million times with shallots. I just love the way what the flavors add to a dish. I need some salt and pepper here. We're also going to salt our mushrooms. The salt on the mushrooms is actually going to it's going to take out some of the liquid that it absorbs. Mushrooms basically act like a sponge, but by salting them, we take some liquid back out so they're not too wet. All right, so we're getting that cooked on both sides. We have our chicken. Let's see what else we want to put in there. Some breadcrumbs in for later on. I'm going to put some tomatoes in there also. You could use regular tomatoes. Because I had these, I'm using grapes. It's basically everything I see. One of the coolest things I like about when people watch my show, and one of the things I hear most are, you know, I tried that dish or I made that dish, and since you don't give out the recipes, so I have to kind of wing it, but I love the technique, and that's what you're really picking up from what we're doing here. I want you to pick up techniques and cool ideas that you can use, add whatever flavors you like. That's what it's about, cooking. Hello. That's what cooking's about, yeah. Try and stir and talk at the same time. So we're cooking down our chicken. We have salt and pepper. We're going to add some dry oregano to that. Just give it even a little more flavor. And that chicken will cook up pretty quickly. And remember too, we're going to actually be cooking them inside the mushrooms. So you're going to get a great finish to the chicken. You won't have to worry about it cooking all the way through because they will. That's all I want to do to the mushroom, all right? Basically, it works like a steak. And I've seared both sides. I've gotten it so it's getting a little bit soft. We'll get that other one in there. We'll get our stuffing finished up right away. So after this, what we're going to do too is we're going to start making our oysters with the spinach cream sauce. Such a super easy dish. Some people are afraid of oysters, but we'll talk about that in a second, about how easy it is to make cooked oysters and make them delicious. All right, spinach, chicken, tomato. We got that for our stuffing. Let's flip that over. Make sure that cooks down. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to let my little stuffing that's going on here with the shallots, the tomatoes, the chicken, and the spinach kind of just finish cooking up. I'm going to add some breadcrumb to that. Then we're going to stuff our mushrooms. We're going to put those over to the side so they cool. When we come back, we'll start working on a cream sauce for our oysters. Don't go away. Hey everybody, welcome back to A Culinary Journey. I'm just having some fun here on the set with some cool items. We're making a stuffed portobello mushroom. We're going to wrap just like a beef Wellington. We're going to be making oysters, spinach cream, some great flavors, and also some clams if you don't like oysters. There you go. So those are a couple of items. So what I've done here, and you know, we were talking before about adding mushrooms, so I got all excited about that, so I had them bring me some mushrooms. We're going to add some mushrooms to this dish, let them cook down just a little bit. We have our stuffed mushrooms that I have, or our portobello mushrooms that have already been cooked down, that we're going to stuff and let cool. So we're going to do that. I got this one going. There we go. Thank you very much. We'll get them back into there after we're done with this. So this is my stuffing for it. What I want to do is give it some body, so we're going to add in some cheese and some breadcrumb to it. That'll help just give it some body. A little more salt and pepper because we want to season it. And we'll just kind of work that all together, letting the liquid kind of rehydrate the breadcrumb to the point where it's just a nice little stuffing. So we have breadcrumbs in here, we have spinach, we have chicken, we have the mushrooms, And that's all we really need, because then we're going to take that and we're going to stuff it inside of the puff pastry. But we need to let it cool off. I don't want to put this in super hot. And it's a really nice thing. So again, you could take this and do whatever type of stuffing you want in there, which is kind of fun. And if you have vegetarians, go all vegetarian. It's a great way to do it. Don't forget the cheese, though. Cheese is fun. And if you're gluten-free, except for the puff pastry in this, you can make a stuffed mushroom that's just like this without the breadcrumb and just add more cheese to it. You'll absolutely love this. I make a version of this. Maybe I should make sure that's off. I make a version of this where I take figs and chicken. No, really, it is off. No. Figs and chicken, and I stuff that, and I put some goat cheese over the top. Oh, it's absolutely yummy. Let's put you over here so we definitely know you're off. There you go, and we'll get rid of this. So we're going to let this cool off. When we come back in the next segment, we'll start making those, and those will be absolutely wonderful. All right, so for our cream sauce and our oysters, real simple. We're going to go with a little bit of garlic oil. So garlic in a pan, a little olive oil with that. We'll just let that kind of cook down. We'll get that oil flavor going. Let me go show you what my oysters look like. So what's great about oysters today, I know, some people say, well, you can't get it certain months, this, that, and the other thing. Since we're roasting them, if you want to do them at home, a couple of different ways. One, you could get fresh oysters. But you want to find, one, a reputable dealer. You want to find, two, someone you know, so when they get you the oysters, they're telling you the right thing about them. The other way, and they come packed like this, they're not as accessible, is a frozen oyster that comes on the half shell. A couple of things you don't have to do. One, you don't have to shuck the oyster. You don't have to pop it open, which usually it results in a lot of cuts and nicks and bruises on your hand. That's a cool way of getting it, because we're not eating these raw, we're eating these cooked. They're fished or oystered or whatever you do to oysters to get them out of the water. They're opened up and they're flash frozen. They are absolutely incredible once they're reheated or cooked. So you will absolutely love the way this comes out in the oven when you're cooking it. It also takes away all the hard work, because this is the way it comes. So that's a beautiful thing. I also have some clams. I steam these just a little bit to open up the little neck clams. And what I'm going to do with those is the same thing we're going to do with the oysters. We're just going to finish them off in the oven. These stay raw until you cook them. These get cooked, and then we're going to finish them off and heat them up in the oven. All right? Easy enough? Good. Following along? Because this is where it gets fun. So we're going to take the oil out of the garlic out of the pan, because we flavored the oil as much as we wanted to. And then we're going to just basically make a spinach cream sauce. And my good friend Piner is going to get me some more spinach, because I think I need a little bit more than that. All right, turn this down just a little bit. And what's cool is when I asked for Piner's the guy that works off set for me. And you can't throw spinach, though, Piner, just so you know, unless he'll find a way to do it. Ta-da, we'll get some shallots in there. All right. Now, the spinach cream sauce concept comes from the idea of doing, hey, thank you, kind sir. All right. The spinach cream sauce concept comes from doing something called Oysters Rockefeller. It's an old dish. I'm dating myself now. It's a dish I used to serve a lot when I was a waiter and I worked in kitchens back in the 80s. But it's something that's been popular for a long time. It has usually Pernod or a little anise flavor. It has, so Pernod, anise flavor. We have spinach, cream, onions, sometimes bacon, which we're not going to use in this dish. Oh, maybe we will. Oh, that's what we're going to do. Hey, listen, this is what we're going to do. Since I had the fennel here and usually use the Pernod, we're going to add a little fennel to this dish. And just so that it has that little anise flavor we want to get. And it's going to really make it pop. So, wow, you guys are good. Thanks for all your help with this. So we're going to add some of that. And just chop up the fennels. If you haven't worked with fennel before, you could even try to use fennel seed in this dish. That'll come out really nice. I just like the crunch of the fennel, the fresh fennel. You're going to love it in here. All right? And then we're going to put the spinach in there too and let that cook down. We're going to add a couple more ingredients, a little lemon juice. We'll roll it to get the juices flowing. Make sure none of the, there you go, none of the pits fall in. And if you have cuts on your hand, you get to feel it right then and there too. That's always fun. Not that I do, of course. A little more salt and pepper. Ooh, more sour wine. No, I get excited. I got to stop. I'm going to start coming up with everything for this dish. And then we'll just let that kind of cook down, and we're going to add some cream to this. It's really all we need. So we have a little fennel flavor, or if we have a little anise flavor. We have our shallots, we have our spinach, and our cream, because we want to make this a really thick cream. It's going to kind of ladle right over, and then we're going to finish with a little seasoned breadcrumb. And we're going to use some of those fennel tops to garnish our dish. So we're going to let this cook down. When we come back, what we'll do is we'll take another quick break. I'm going to start getting the stuff ready for the Portabello mushrooms. Once I get those ready, we'll get those in the oven. We'll finish our sauce. We'll get the oysters in the oven. We'll have people come over and have a big party. And that's all you really have to do for these two quick, cool dishes. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, welcome back to A Culinary Journey. So this is what we're doing. We're making oysters kind of a la Rockefeller, using the ingredients that we had. We had fennel, we had spinach, we had some cream. We bring that all down. Hi everybody. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to add those onto oysters and clams. And earlier on, we started making our portobello mushrooms, the stuff in our puff pastry, right? That's going to be absolutely yummy. So let's get the puff pastry around the portobello mushrooms. We'll show you that. And then let's get the oysters together and the clams together. Real easy. So here we have a puff pastry for each of our mushrooms. We've let them cool off to a nice point. Let's get this on here. We have our stuffing here. That's mushroom, chicken, a little bit of spinach, do we put cream? Yeah, we put some cream. No? Did we put cream? We did? Thank you. Thanks for, that was a long time ago. And then what we're going to do is just kind of fold our puff pastry around the outside. So it kind of makes a little nice fold. And we're going to leave the top of it exposed. And then we're going to brush this. And since I don't have a brush, because I don't have a budget, I have to use that line way too much. I got to start getting a budget. And I can get everything. We're going to brush it with our hands. So again, fold, fold, fold. And this is a great entree to serve, to do something a little bit different. In our case, we've put some chicken in there, but if you wanted to put more mushrooms in there or vegetables, this would be great with vegetables, goat cheese, all those kind of things. And what I've done here, I've just whipped up a little bit of egg, and then I'm going to use that to coat the outside. So I'll start with a spoon. I'll get it all nice and coated. Nothing better than getting your hands into your food, right? And since I'm going to be eating these, we're all good. Wait a second. Everybody's like, what do you mean? I'm not eating that? No. We'll all have some. And since we're all family, it doesn't matter. There we go. Just coat the outside. It's going to give us a nice little crust for the outside. And that's absolutely yummy, nice and easy. So we'll get these on here because I got a couple working in the oven already. That's all I had to show you. We'll cook those up that's for us afterwards. Now the oysters, what do I do with them? I put them away. I'm going to need them back. The oysters we talked about, right? We're going to buy these oysters. We're going to buy them where they're frozen. All you have to do, you don't cook them from frozen. You thaw them out, put them in the refrigerator from the freezer, and then you thaw them out, and they come out absolutely wonderful. They're in the shell already. They loosen up right at the last minute. They're still attached. There's a connective tissue that's attached, but that loosens up. And then we have these little neck, really tender, incredible yummy clams that I'm going to put some of that same filling on top of. Now the sauce that we made, we reduced down cream, spinach, fennel, some shallots, right? And we have all those great flavors. It's just going to go right on top. And I made it a real thick, creamy sauce because it needs to hold into the shell. And we're going to bake that. So, and this won't take too much time because we just need the oysters to cook, which will be about 4 or 5 minutes. They'll be cooked and they'll come out beautiful. We'll add some breadcrumbs to the top of that. Breadcrumbs are going to just give it a nice little bite. These are panko breadcrumbs. You can make your own, but the panko are the Japanese breadcrumbs. They're made from a lighter bread, and they're really airy and crispy, and it gives it a nice little crunch. And if you made your own, that's fine also. A little bit of lemon juice on top. I can't think of any better way to, anything better to add to any type of fish or shellfish than lemon juice. So we have that, right? That's going to go in the oven. Since I got one working, I only have one more thing I want to do for this. It's the topping that's going to go on. You think this is easy when it's, there it goes. The topping that's going to go on top of our oysters. And that is just a little bit of Tabasco. Because oysters, Tabasco, butter, a little bit of butter to a little bit of Tabasco. And we're going to chop a little garnish of some green onion to go with that. Yes, I'm not worried about the butter in my diet. All right, so that brings up a good point. You know, I do like to use a lot of butter and stuff. I don't eat like this all the time, so it's not like constantly 2 pounds of butter every day. But when something calls for butter, put it in there. Butter makes everything better. There we go. Let's go take a look at what we're doing while that's going up there. Ready for this? Y'all ready for this? Okay, so we got our puff pastry, and you'll see that in a second. And we have this incredible addition. Let's see, we got some plates over here. So watch this. Get our puff pastry out. I'm running everywhere because I'm so excited about this. It's going to be nice. Tabasco. Let's get this one. This is the one I want. Make sure you got this beautiful puff pastry right in the center. So, oh no, let's leave that there. And then let's show what it looks like to have all those amazing oysters and clams going. Almost smells like hot sauce. Oh wait, it is. Here you go. So now on the oysters and the clams, what's great about it, so the sauce baked into the oysters and the clams, and then on top we had the crispy panko breadcrumb, right? Ooh, that's good stuff right there. I'll eat that one. And then we just put it on there. Now, if you have friends that like it spicy, you could pour it right on top. I'm going to let my friends that are here pour out whatever they want on top of that. So we have our stuffed mushroom. Inside there was chicken. It's wrapped with the puff pastry. We got some mushrooms in there. I think the only thing that would make that better is a little mushroom cream sauce. And if you saw my marsala sauce I did for my pork scallopini last week, on the bottom of this plate, just saying, that's all you have to think about. And if not, you just call me and I'll make you that recipe. Two great items. You could serve it. You have friends over. It's something completely different than you normally do. I hope you had a great time. I'm loving it. I can't wait to dig into these. And guess what? I'll see you next time on A Culinary Journey.